Change is also sweeping the Alberni Valley with the ousting of longtime Mayor Ken McRae. As CTV's Chandler Grieve shows us, the man who unseated the popular incumbent is now laying out his vision for the city's future.
One waves goodbye to more than a decade as mayor, and the other is still trying to absorb what he just pulled off. It's being called the island's biggest election shocker, and it happened in Port Alberni. Few thought incumbent Ken McRae would have a hard time winning his 5th term, but even fewer think as big as the man who upset him.
Probably the story of the century for Vancouver Island is going to be Port Alberni and how it's going to develop as a central hub here on the island.
That was John Douglas Sunday, less than 24 hours after he did what many thought couldn't be done, dethrone a man who had been Port Alberni's mayor since 2001. But in the end, it wasn't even all that close, as the paramedic and former city councilor comfortably defeated McRae in what turned into a 2-horse race, with the winning horse promising to rid the city of its outdated image.
The problem is we're suffering from this hangover of being the stinky mill town.
He hopes to do this by revitalizing the city's untapped waterfront, something that swayed voters, including Sandra Gentleman, the owner of a water sports company.
Stop and play in PA.
Stop and play in PA.
Yeah, absolutely.
The catchy slogan is what Sandra envisions and thinks the change-up at City Hall will attract more business.
John sees the vision of beautifying the waterfront to attract more small businesses and more people to the potential of the valley.
On the other side of the inlet, we have an entire coastline that is completely undeveloped.
Along with revitalizing the waterfront, another issue that the new mayor must address is how to keep the youth of Port Alberni in Port Alberni. It's become a common trend for teenagers to bolt over the hump at first opportunity and never look back.
You know, we need to make it attractive for them. We need to provide the facilities here that they want.
Douglas is not your typical political figure, as evidenced Saturday night. As the results trickled in, Douglas was not at council chambers or at a fancy party awaiting the news. Rather, he was with his wife, taking in an Alberni Valley Bulldogs game.
Promised my wife we were going to the hockey game, and you got to keep certain things in perspective, right?
Port Alberni now hopes his promise to the city also stays true. Chandler Grieve, CTV News, Port Alberni.